So if you want really clean, pure water, a distiller is really unmatched in that category. And today, I'm going to tell you some reasons why I think a distiller is a good idea for preppers, as well as take a look at this Vevor water distiller. Let's check it out. All right, everybody, welcome back. So I wanted to show you this. I don't normally do videos on Wednesday, but I did want to show you this product because I feel it's an important thing, especially with all the uncertainty that we're kind of facing in the world today. And I want to talk about why you might want a distiller before we get too deep into the product. Why you might want a distiller and some pros and cons of the distiller. First of all, we're going to talk about why you'd want one, okay? And the first most important thing is water purification. In a disaster scenario, access to clean, safe drinking water might be compromised or very hard to come by. Water distillation is a really effective method of purifying water, and what it does is it basically boils it down, condenses the steam, and drops it back in as liquid water. So this process removes any contaminants, including bacteria, viruses, heavy metals, chemicals, and it makes the water safe to drink. Also, there's the issue of self-reliance. We often prioritize self-sufficiency, and having a water distiller allows us to make our own clean, safe drinking water without having to rely on potentially unreliable municipal sources or other external providers in a disaster scenario. Here's a really cool one: long-term storage. Folks probably don't know that distilled water has a very long shelf life as opposed to untreated water. So for your storage, distilled water is a way to go because it removes all the impurities that can lead to bacterial growth and degradation over time. Also, versatility. You can use this with a bunch of different water sources, whether they're questionable or contaminated, like river water, rainwater, even seawater with more advanced distillation setups. This will probably take out a good amount of salt, but for actual real seawater, you're going to need a little bit more advanced system. This versatility will make it really handy in emergency situations. A very important one, even for your day-to-day stuff, is reduction of chemical contaminants. Now, water distillation is very effective at removing certain chemicals and toxins that might be present in water, like pesticides, industrial pollutants, and volatile organic compounds, or VOCs as they're referred to. And we are going to test a before and after sample with my TDS meter and show you the total dissolved solids in tap water, which I have in there, as opposed to once this gets distilled. Emergency scenarios, in situations where access to clean water is limited due to a natural disaster or a breakdown in infrastructure or other emergency events, having a water distiller can really be a lifesaver for you. And lastly, of course, and this is actually where I came in during the pandemic, was bartering and community support. Now, I didn't do any bartering, but I did do a little community support with my distiller. Some folks needed distilled water for their CPAP machines. And of course, any source of water in the stores was sold out. So I was able to provide for free distilled water. I just run this thing for a couple days and fill up distilled water, and a couple people would come over and pick it up. So I was able to help them out. And, that's goodwill too. It's not only about bartering, but in a post-disaster scenario, having the capability to produce clean water can really be a valuable asset. You can use this not only for your own needs, but for anybody else that might need it, and you can barter with it or provide community support. And you can help out your neighbors even if they need it. Now, the next section, next little quick comment section on this is distilled water, is it safe to drink? And I know some people will tell me, oh my God, you'll die in a week if you drink nothing but distilled water. Really not true. There are some mild concerns with distilled water, and it really has to do with the lack of minerals in it. Now, of course, distillation removes all the minerals from water. That can be an advantage and a drawback too. With some minerals in water, they can be very beneficial for health, and distilled water won't contribute to mineral intake. However, most people generally get all the minerals that they need from their diet. So for the average person, it's not really a big concern, but it might be, for somebody who's very low on minerals. Electrolytes. Most distilled water lacks all minerals. It's considered dead water in the terms of electrolyte content. In certain situations, like intense physical activity or situations where you might be losing a lot of electrolytes, say like a bad case of diarrhea or heavy sweating, drinking distilled water exclusively might not be ideal. In these cases, sports drinks and rehydration solutions with electrolytes might be recommended. That can be done as simply as getting yourself some tubes of Propel or what's the other one? Gosh, mine just went blank. But they sell the tubes of Gatorade and stuff like that. You just dump into your water, and that will take care of the problem. Another big one is taste. Some people consider distilled water to taste very flat. I personally like it because it tastes like water should taste, absolutely nothing. It's just a liquid in your mouth. But some people may not like that. That's really a matter of personal preference. So while drinking distilled water occasionally is, of course, perfectly safe, the only real concern from health experts is drinking distilled water for long periods of time due to the lack of minerals. However, a balanced diet that includes minerals from food sources really negates that whole argument. So let's get into the actual product here. I did want to give you some pros and cons and reasons why you might want one. And now we'll get into the product itself. All right, so let's talk about this Vevor water distiller itself. Now, it is a great deal on it going on right now, and you can save 5% with my code. But we're going to get into what this thing does. This is basically a 750 watt, 1.1 gallon water distiller. It can do about 6 gallons per day. It does about 1.3 liters per hour. It's not a fast process. No distillation process is. Remember, it's got to boil that water, take it up here as steam, and then reconstitute it as water and drip it into your collection bucket there. So it's not super quick, but it is super pure. Okay, this will remove dissolved solids, VOCs, and almost all other impurities, and it will offer you the purest water you can get. So it really is good for emergencies. Now, the inside of this is a full 304 stainless steel, including the internal tank, the internal cap, the water outlet. All that is really good stainless steel. It meets food hygiene standards. It's also certified by FDA. It's BPA plastic free. It's easy to maintain, okay? Basically, you're going to run this thing by hitting that button, and I'll show you how to hook it all up, because you're going to plug the top piece into the bottom and the bottom piece into the wall. 2 different plugs, and that's it really. Now the heat, when the temperature exceeds 239 degrees, it will shut down. It'll automatically shut down to avoid excessive temperature and damage to the machine, but that shouldn't happen. But in case you get a runaway element or something, it will fix that. It does have very fast heat dissipation. All of the units that I tried in the past, this area gets very hot. So we'll see how fast this is. They say it has metal blades, so the aluminum fan blades will allow for faster heat dissipation. And the exhaust cap up top here is also changed from plastic to 304 stainless steel. What you see out here is, of course, plastic. The inside fins are stainless steel, and that will take away some of the heat. Super easy to carry. You got a lid, you got a handle right on it. Very easy to use, very, very simple. I'm going to show you the accessories here. What it basically comes with, the first thing you'll see is a cap here. This cap will go on top of your water collection bottle there. And this is the drain section here, and we'll put that on there. So basically what's going to happen is the drain section is going to come out of the distiller and straight into your bottle. So there's nothing lost there. And you'll even get a little bit of steam here, and that will condense and drop down as water as well. If you notice, there's a big section in here. What's that for? Well, you get the carbon packs, and you'll get a couple of them. I have a bunch over here that came with the distiller. This is your last level of cleaning. Now, what I like to do with these, this is my own personal tip, is I wet these down, kind of wet them down, rinse them out, just in case there's any loose carbon floating around in there, you know, charcoal or whatever. You'll see a little black come off it. That way my first run is a good run. So you're going to stuff that in there, and that will snap up in there. We'll show you that when we get it started. You will get the bottle, of course. A really handy instruction manual. This thing is very detailed, and I mean, such a simple unit to use, but it'll show you that you're going to plug the back in and then plug that into the wall. There's the indicator light, what everything does, all the features, and the dangers and warnings in case this should malfunction. And that's pretty much it. You know, this will give you all the information you need. So it's a well-written instruction manual, but this is a very simple product to use. So what we're going to do is I'm going to rinse off that little carbon packet there. Oh, I did forget this thing too. This is citric acid. This is for cleaning. You're going to need this. Don't throw this out. I have a very high mineral content, calcium content in my water. So you will see how beautiful the inside of this is right now. After we distill a gallon of water, I want to show you what it looks like after, because it's going to be basically all white and cloudy against the stainless steel walls there. This stuff, you just put a little bit of this in there, use a little scouring pad, scour around in there, let it sit for about 5 minutes and rinse it out. This stuff will eat right through it. It's really, really good stuff. So don't throw this out. And you may even want to pick up some more, as well as pick up some additional of these. I have 2 distillers and I've yet to use one completely. Even the one that I use to do all that water, I've yet to see where it's any kind of degradation on it. So I'm going to wet that, and I'm going to take the top off here. I'm going to show you how to set this up for your first run, and we're going to try this thing out. So again, I wanted to show you what the inside of this will look like. The top piece is off here. We'll deal with that in a sec. That's your stainless steel inside, and as you can see, it's nice and clean and new and shiny. We're going to pour water in there, and I'm just using this. I just literally took this tap water right out of my sink. Yep, it's tap water. And we're going to pour it in there. Up to the fill line. There is a fill line inside of here. Leave about 4 inches from the top, I believe. I'm just kind of guesstimating. But I'm just doing a gallon here. A little under a gallon, actually, because I didn't fill that up. Your full line is right about here. So let's see. It's about that far away from the top. And there's a full line right there. So you'll see the low and the high on it. So it's very, very simple to use. All right, let's deal with the top piece. And I'll show you how that goes together. All right, so like I said, I've already got this piece ready, my drain pipe, and I have wet this. So when I wet this at first, of course, a little bit of black came off it, and I just wet it until it was all gone. So we're going to lift this piece up here, a little piece here. That lip goes underneath it, okay, like that. There we go. So you just kind of put it underneath that thing there and push forward like that, and you're in, all right? It's got a little nub on the front of this piece that will push up against that plastic and hold it in place. Now you'll notice this has a plug back here. We're going to spin this around quickly. You can't mess this up. It's real simple. This one is a male to female plug, and the plug that goes in the wall is a female to the plug. So what we're going to do is kind of line this up so it doesn't go too far out of whack, okay? There we go. And you're going to turn this a little like that. There we go. And we're just going to plug that in there like that. Your next step is going to be plugging it into the wall with the included cable. So we're going to plug it into the wall here, plug it in the back here, and then plug it into the wall. So let me lift up the camera and we'll show you this thing beginning. What I want to do first, though, before we start, I'm going to take the top back off and show you the dissolved solids that's in the tap water that I get. Now, this is a TDS meter. You can buy these on Amazon very, very cheaply. I'm just going to turn it on, and I don't know if you can see the numbers there, but of course it's 0. We're going to put it in here, and I'm going to show you there. So I'm at about 345. I'm going to hit hold, 344. And there you go. Can you see that? 340, I'm just looking at 344. So that, now remember, not all dissolved solids are bad. Some of that's minerals that the water company will put in. And yeah, some of it's fluoride and other stuff you may not want in your water. What we're going to do is test it once it drips into here, when it's all done, and show you the difference. So let me get the cap on here and spin this thing around, and we will get it started. All right, got it in place. I've got this cap up here. Remember, we showed you this cap in the beginning, and that will be where your water drips into. You want to get that as straight as possible, and that way you don't get any waste. There's no dribbling or anything. I've used these before, and that's perfect. This does have a switch on the back, so I am going to turn that switch on. There we go. Fan has started working. So to start everything, all I got to do, hit that button, and away we go. So what I'm going to do is let this run. It's probably going to run for about 3 or 4 hours. When we're a little bit way through it, I'm going to come in, or maybe when it's done, depending on when I remember to check it. We're going to come in and check the water with the TDS meter again and show you that it'll be pretty darn close to 0, or at least it should be. Now remember, this is the first run of this, so it might be a little higher the first time, but as you run this, it'll work better and better. So let's give it a run. Let's see how it works. See you in a couple hours. I just wanted to show you kind of, while it's working, how it's working. And you can see we have water till about down there. So we got a long way to go, but at least I wanted to bring you back while it was dripping and actually doing its job. And as you can tell, it's really not all that loud. So let's give it a little more time, probably another 2 hours, and I'll bring you back. All right, so it's definitely 3 or 4 hours later. Actually, it's a lot later. It's 4 o'clock now. I went out, ran my errands, did everything I had to do. I went to the gym, came back, and it's long since done. Obviously, it's cool. You know, it's a little warm in the garage, but it's cool on its own, and it's finished up. So what I'd like to do is test the water and see how it looks, and I'd like to show you the inside. So for water testing, that's going to be easy. We're just going to pull this thing out here, turn our TDS meter, And forgive me because I'm a little bit hot after being out all day in this heat. Let's see what we got. Let's stick it in there. Get in there. Wow, what a difference. Let's hold that. I want to show you that. Now this is its first run. You remember it was 3 something the first time. It is 0.041. Can you see that? So that's definitely a whole lot purer. Now remember, I did have the water in here to begin with that I dumped in here, and I've run this the first time. As you run this more, you'll get 0.0 out of that. So definitely works well. Now for the next quick part, I want to show you what it looks like inside of it, because I'm sure it's going to be full of that calcium deposits and stuff on the inside. But now I have a gallon of distilled water, so that's kind of cool. Also handy if you do run lead acid batteries and you have to refill them. Let's take a look at what this looks like inside. All right, so it's not as bad as I would have expected. There is a definite calcium ring around the top. You can see, but the bottom is where it really shows up. I don't know if you can see that. Let me run my hand through that. It's just a thick layer of stuff under there. And that's where this stuff's going to come in handy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak some water in here and clean it out. Bring it back when it's done, and I'll show you how it looks when you finish with this stuff, because the citric acid powder really eats up anything that's inside here and sterilizes it. And we'll finish up the video. I'll give you a price and a link on where you can get one of these yourself if you're interested in some really clean water. All right, so literally 5 minutes later, I'm back out here. I put the citric acid powder. Now remember, you don't want to soak this in water because it's got electrical components inside. I put the citric acid powder in there, let it sit for about 5 minutes with a little bit of water. You know, I just poured a little water in, took a green scrubby, just went around, wiped it, and that stuff that was stuck on the bottom and wouldn't come up, as you can tell, nice and clean, just like new. The top didn't need any good scrubbing. I just took a little wet paper towel, wiped it off, all that stuff came off. There really wasn't much there. So it's very simple to use, very easy to put together. Now the price on this, okay, if you don't register on the site, it's $66.99. If you do register, it's $63.99. So you will save a little bit of money. I do have a 5% code, my promo code down below, that will save you even more on it. And I think for people who are worried and concerned about their water, this will definitely clean up your water for you. Again, we started in the beginning with some of the controversies over people who think you shouldn't drink it. Personally, I think it's fine. You get your nutrients and minerals from most of your food. You can always take vitamins. So I think it's a pretty good option for those of you who have some serious water contamination that you want to clean up, and those of you who might need distilled water in an emergency. Like I said, during the pandemic, I was handing out gallons of distilled water to people who couldn't get it in the stores because people were buying every type of water there was to drink. So as you see, very simple to use, very easy, very affordable with the discount and the $63.99. Not bad. I mean, I've seen distillers on Amazon sell for $200 and $300, and this will run on a power bank if you want to run it on some kind of power station or something like that. It only draws 750 watts, so you can do it that way. You can do it on a bigger solar system, a bigger backup, or you can just run it off a battery bank, you know, very simply with an inverter. So it's a very simple, easy to use system, and I like it. I like it a lot. It's worked very well. And for its first run, now I remember when I've done other ones of these, and they always tell you to run them first. And I've run them first, and the first time maybe it was like 200 from 300, then 100, then 50, you know, and I ran it a few times. This one right off the bat was 41 on the TDS meter. So there was hardly anything in that water that's bad. And probably what was in there was the water that I put in to dump it in to begin with out of my tap. So that's the deal. The link will be down below for it. Definitely check out Vevor. By the way, that 5% code is good for anything on the site. So if you buy this and you see something else you want to buy, that 5% code down there, that VV promo, will save you 5% on your whole order. So definitely check out the site. They got a lot of great stuff for preppers. So definitely check them out. All those links will be down below. Don't forget to check out Amazon affiliate store. If there's nothing in the store you like, just click that link and shop as you normally would. That helps us out. And below that is our freeze-dried wholesalers link. Don't forget to check that out. That's a 15% discount link. You use that link. There's no codes. There's no nothing. Shop as you normally would. Get to the end. When you get to the end, you'll see your 15% discount in the shopping cart, and you can save a lot of money. I've had people email me and tell me they've saved $500, $600 because they put in big orders. Below that is our My Patriot Supply link. That's preparewithiridium.com. Got some great deals on that site. Preparewithiridium.com. Check them out. And don't forget our 3-5 Life freeze-dried food store. I thank you guys for joining me today. Stay safe and stay prepared.